Hello, ladies. So, welcome to our first training call for Energy School. I'm excited to be here with you today. This call is going to be a little bit different from our typical training calls because we are going to be talking about Reiki, and I want to just kind of support you in the content that I've given you already and any questions that you have around that. And also any questions that are coming forward around like self-practice or activating your Reiki, those types of things. So that's really my intention for today. And typically what we'll do on the training calls is we'll be bringing forward a topic. So I'm not 100% sure. We might do Reiki again next week. I'm still kind of feeling into it, but then we'll start with like really energy awareness and grounding. And so, I'll be teaching on these calls, and then we'll also have space throughout the call for questions and answers. So, I wanted to do it live so that if you are showing up live, you can ask your questions in real time and we can go deeper into the conversation and into the topic. So that is what we're doing. So I'm just going to start with a brief recap of what I have sent you so far, and then we'll use that kind of as a portal to go into some questions. And also I'll let you share experiences that you're having. So even post attunement, or if you have done some self treatments, we can kind of talk about what you're noticing and what's coming forward for you. So before your attunements, you received a few videos on the history of Reiki and just what to expect during your attunements. And then after that, I sent you a couple more videos on activating your Reiki energy. So how to do that. We also talked about a couple different energy exercises to start turning on your Reiki and strengthening it. So giving you some practice to start building your awareness, around the energy, what it feels like. Also just getting a feel for when, like, building that sensitivity in your hands and in your awareness to notice the different densities, the different vibrations of energy. And so, we talked about that. And then I gave you the how to do a Reiki treatment video. So we talked about the self-healing, and we started to talk a little bit about doing a session for others. We didn't go too deep into that. And the other content that I gave you was the Meet Your Reiki Guides meditation, which I really love, just because it's always nice to know that we are being supported on our journey. I know for me, when I first met my Reiki guide, it was a dragon. And I would have never thought, I would have had a dragon as my guide, but I still use that energy today at different times to assist me in my healing, but also to assist me in my own practice for myself. So, yeah. So, maybe let's start with the activating Reiki and the energy exercise. So desensitizing your hands and building your awareness. So are there any questions about that? Or does anyone want to share their experience with that? We'll start with And feel free, if you have questions or if you want to share, you can use the chat box. And also, if you want to speak, I'm more than happy to unmute you. Okay, so should we do the awareness exercise every time before a session? No. you want to make sure that you turn the Reiki energy on before every session. So again, you turn the Reiki energy on with the chokure symbol by drawing that on your palms. And, when I was first practicing, I would just rub my palms together a little before I would start a session just to kind of get a little bit of energy flowing. So rub them and press them together. That's not really, you don't have to do that. That's just what I would do. But you just want to make sure you turn the Reiki on with your chokure symbol, and then you're good to go. Any other questions? So also what's coming to me is like building our awareness of energy. Even if you walk into a room, if there was, say, an argument in that room before you go into it, or maybe there's like a lot of joy and happiness, even just walking into the room, you can notice the energy. So when we are building our awareness of energy, so even like the energy ball exercise where you are building an energy ball and then, putting it aside and feeling where it is, it's like you're building your capacity to feel the difference of energy. And you can also notice, if you play with different colors may have different feelings. Some might be heavier, some might be lighter, some might be more energizing. So those are just all areas where you can play with that exercise. So I was having trouble making the ball, but when I did the self-treatment, I felt the heat. Today, my palms have been tingling all morning. Yes. So sometimes in the beginning, it can take a few days, for your Reiki energy to really come in. So if you did the exercise right after you got the attunement, or like a day after, and you noticed it was more challenging, you can continue to play with it, and more than likely you'll notice more energy coming through. And sometimes too, Reiki comes through our palms, but it also can come through our feet. And so you may also notice your feet tingling, or like if you have animals, they may want to sit by your feet. That can also happen. So any other questions or comments or shares around the energy exercise? Okay, perfect. So we'll move to the next, which is self-treatments. So has everyone been able to practice a self-treatment at least once? Okay, perfect. So, yeah, so does anyone have any questions around that, around the self-treatments? So Teresa says her intention was to rest and she fell asleep. Perfect. Yay. That means you needed rest. And whenever I first was attuned to Reiki and started playing with it, I used to do a lot of my self-treatments at night. So whenever I'd lay in bed, I would start doing a Reiki session for myself. And so what I would set the intention at the beginning of the session, I just kind of say a prayer and ask my angels and my guides if I fell asleep, just asking them to finish the session for me. So if you're doing the treatments at night, you can always do that. Just intend for your guides and your spiritual support team to help you and to finish if you fall asleep. Okay, so Jamie says, is it beneficial to do short sessions? I've got a lot of nervous energy, so I struggle to do longer ones with the kids being home this summer. I don't have a lot of time to myself. Totally. So, yes, whether you do 5 minutes or you do 30 minutes, you're still going to have benefits. Typically, like a 5 to 10 minute session is going to be, you just want more of a direct focus. So if you are wanting to say ground, right? Or say maybe you are wanting to get out of your head. I noticed this week I was having some mental energy with like the full moon and everything. And so I was wanting to like slow down my thoughts. And so I just kind of did like a little mini self-treatment. So having specific focuses, you can definitely do, a 5 minute session will be good. Or you could also have it for, set the intention for just being for the highest good of whatever you need at that time. So yes, you will still definitely get benefits, and just building your capacity to be able to receive the energy as well. So you might notice, like if you soak in the tub, like you could actually Reiki yourself while you're in the tub, or like I was saying at night, when I was falling asleep, often I wouldn't go through all the hand positions, but I would have one of my hands on my heart and one on my belly, because those were the two areas that I was working a lot on, or like my womb space and my stomach. So you can also do that. Like if you're laying down at night or you're watching TV, you could just have your hands, on different places and intend for the Reiki to be sending as well. You will still get the benefits, even though you're not like, zenning out, sending yourself Reiki. Okay, so and you may notice too, so say your kids are home and they're being active, if you could even play with like doing the Reiki for yourself to help calm yourself, and notice like if that helps to calm them as well. Or you could also play with like Reikiing the room. So I think I talked about that in one of the videos, where you can like actually Reiki the corners of the room to set the room, and just see like if that helps to calm them down as well. Yeah, so Mia says she overall feels lighter throughout her body and calmer. Yes. Any other questions about the self-treatments? Okay. And did anyone have an opportunity to do Reiki on anyone else? Awesome. So Mia did it on her boyfriend. How was that? Do you want to share? I can unmute you or you can type, whatever is easier. He fell asleep. Good. Yeah, a lot of people, feel super relaxed. So, is it okay if I unmute you, Mia? Okay. Hi.
Hello.
So I wanted to ask, so like whenever you were doing the session for him, how was it like with your hand positions and how are you feeling?
Um, I was trying to follow the guides, but like you said, kind of felt end up being guided to where I needed to be and stay longer where I needed to be. It felt however I felt where I needed to be. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that kind of took over. It wasn't like following the hand placements, and I just left them there for how long I felt they needed to be there.
Yeah. So did it like it felt pretty
But
clear
he
whenever you needed to switch places and
yeah, yeah, that happened.
good.
And he actually had a toothache. That was the main issue, but he ended up falling asleep afterwards. He said he got very relaxed. He felt good afterwards.
Good. And how did he feel like the day after or after the session? Did he notice any
No, he
difference?
said his tooth. Yeah, he said his tooth wasn't hurting. Yeah,
Oh, yay. Awesome.
he said it stopped. Yeah.
So good. Beautiful. Anything else you want to share from that?
No.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, so Lindsay says that she sent some energy balls to her cat. I'd love to hear what did your cat do, Lindsay? Do you want to share? I'll unmute you. Hi.
Hello. Um, so my sweet little kitty, she like just came over and curled up next to me and just like it's kind of funny because she started like rolling on her back and like exposing her stomach, and that's not something that she usually does. So she just wanted me to like pet on her stomach and just got like real relaxed and real cuddly, and she's always kind of snuggly with me anyway, but she was even more so. Like she got up like next to where I was sitting on the couch and just came over next to me, and I don't know, I think she's adorable anyway, but that was really cute.
Oh, I hear her.
Yeah, talking about her.
I love it. And so, you feel like you noticed a difference with her as you were sending her the energy.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because she, like I said, she's never really like. I mean, she rolled over on her back, kind of like a dog.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen her do that before, and just kind of like be on her back, and she had me rub her stomach a little, and it was really cute.
I love it. Animals are so sensitive. So, yeah, usually they like it. And when they have enough, they'll also let you know that they'll just kind of get up and leave.
Yep, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, so Teresa says she's been trying to do sessions on her son who has been having potty accidents and he recently didn't want me touching him. So there must be some discomfort there because he didn't want me messing with him. Is it okay if I unmute you, Teresa?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So whenever you were doing the Reiki, he didn't want you to touch him, or before that?
Kind of some of both. I was trying to just actually I do kind of a mixture of core and Reiki because I'm so used to doing core. And so I was kind of trying to work on his kidneys and stuff. And yeah, he was like, nope, get away from me, moving around. And so now he was kind of sitting here, and he kind of did let me work on him a little bit. So, but before he would have peeing accidents, and now he has started pooping his pants.
I'm really feeling like the root chakra for him.
Okay.
So even just working, like if you could even just put your hand on his feet.
Okay.
And so focusing more on grounding him.
Okay.
And I don't remember if I mentioned this on the video or not, so I'll just mention it here. But if you're ever working with anyone who is tender to touch or who doesn't want to be touched, you can send the Reiki without touching them. So usually what I would do in that situation is hover. So either like, if you were doing it over, say, their heart, like you could hover in front. Or like for a child, say the child is, I need a visual. Say the child is like, the microphone. You could just basically hover, like, if they're in the middle, you could just put your hands kind of on both sides. So their back and their front, just kind of hovering, letting them be in the center, so you don't have to touch them directly. Sorry, I put my microphone away. If they're being too sensitive to touch, or with older people, or if somebody has an injury, anything like that, you can always just hover above them. But for him specifically, yeah, I'm feeling the root chakra, and maybe even just working the root in the crown first, and then seeing what happens.
Okay, I can work on that. Thank you.
And I know you're more accustomed to doing energy work, but was there any differences between the Reiki and the core? Like, did you notice any differences?
Well, just kind of that I don't really know what I'm doing yet, but yeah, it's there's a lot of similarities. And one thing, I guess, is just like starting the session and ending the session. I have to kind of get used to doing that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I kind of did it a little bit different than that. But yeah, I love it. It's something new to explore, so I like it.
Good. Beautiful. Anyone else want to share any sessions that they've done on others? In the beginning, practice really is the best thing to do, because each situation is so individual and each person is going to be so different. So if you do a session on one person, the next person's energy could feel totally different. So it's really just a practice to start familiarizing yourself with the Reiki energy itself, but then also as you are doing sessions, you're going to also be learning from working with other people's energy, noticing how energy moves or how it doesn't move, or different sensations during a session. Okay, so the next thing we will talk about is the Meet Your Guides meditation. So, has everyone had an opportunity to listen? And if so, did anything come forward for you that you want to share? So, Jamie, did any guides come forward for you during the meditation? I can unmute you too if you'd like to share. Beautiful. So an older woman with pretty curly silver hair piled on top of her head. I love it. Yeah, I can really feel the gentleness too of her energy. So Lindsay met some of her guides as well. I remember whenever I did mine, I had my dragon guide, and then I also had this other Indian guide whenever I got off the boat, like to the island. And she was so excited and happy to see me. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if like I'm as excited to see her as she is me. And it felt like so much heart energy that I was like, I don't even know if I can handle this. And then being here however many years later, like 8 years after my attunement, I can also see that the heart energy is like part of my gifts, so it's like over the years I've learned to expand more and more into creating more capacity for my heart energy. So our guides definitely have a lot to teach us and to show us, so you can invite them into your Reiki sessions. So when you're doing self-healings, also when you are working with other people, you can ask them for support. You can journal to them. I really like to use like free flow journaling where I ask questions and then just let the information come through. So you can do that. Okay, so Jamie asked, should we repeat the meditation at any point to see if new guides show up? You totally can. Yeah. I would maybe you could maybe wait at least, I would say, a couple of months. You may, if you redo it now, you may have other guides come forward. I wouldn't like discard the guide that you already got. Like I would include all of them, right? So not like saying, oh, because these other guides come forward, I can let go of the guide that came forward before. I would want to include all of them, at least for a little while. Sometimes we do switch out our guides whenever we can outgrow them. So once we've worked with one for a little while, sometimes we've learned the lesson and then we need a new guide to take us to the next place. But I would say, that usually takes a little bit of time. Okay, so Mia says, I want. I'm not exactly sure what that means. And when you're working on people too, everybody's intuitive gifts are unique to yourself, right? And so as you are practicing Reiki on yourself, and especially if you practice with others, your gifts will continue to open. And so some of you may see other people's guides or feel other people's guides. So this is totally normal. Some people you might feel angelic presence, or even if you have mediumship type of abilities, you could feel people's loved ones, or see possibly. And what I just want to say is, if this happens to you, there's nothing wrong. And if it doesn't happen to you, there's nothing wrong. Everyone's gifts are unique to them. I'm a very feeling-based person, so most of my intuition comes through feeling, and I have developed my seeing recently over the past few years. Like the past 2 years, I've been working more directly with actually seeing energy, but feeling energy is always my number one first portal, right? So even if guides show up, even if whatever, usually I am feeling it. I have had clients that are seers, right? So they are more mediums, or they do see energy more, where they see the chakras or they see guides, and that is totally fine too. Okay, so Mia said she met Anna, who had no face, during the meditation. Yeah, so this could be similar to what I'm saying too. So you can also notice like what other energies are present as you meet the guide. So are there feelings, or there, do you feel a sense of calmness or high energy or safety, or just noticing what else is present? Sometimes we're not ready to see, or there could be lots of different layers and lots of different things. So I would suggest you can definitely redo the meditation, and you could also call her forward and see what you notice without being able to see her. And that can help you start to get to know her as well. And the other thing that I'll mention, we'll talk about it later throughout the program, but I know that whenever I started to open my gifts and I got attuned to Reiki and I started to feel energy more, I did not want to see spirits or dead people or anything. So that was a boundary I set. So, you know, I just made it pretty clear that I didn't want that to happen. Like, I didn't want to be, you know, in the store and like having ghost or something come to me. And so I just had that clear boundary. And so you can, if there's something that you don't want, you can also set a boundary and you can ask your guides to support you in that as well. And the other piece that I'll say around that is if you know that that's one of your gifts, because I've had this happen for my Reiki, she's now one of my Reiki masters, but one of my Reiki students, when she got attuned to level 1 with me, she is a medium, and that is her gift. And she had visions even as a young girl of events and different things that were going to happen, and they happened. And she shut off her gift because, you know, her parents told her they were worried about her, or you can't like tell people like what's happening and all the things, right? So she shut down her gifts. And with her Reiki 1 attunement, they started to reactivate. And so, you know, if this is, if you know that you have shut down parts of yourself, parts of your gifts, parts of your intuition, with the attunement, you may find them start to activate again. And just know that, you know, if you need support during the process, I'm here to support you. You can always post in the Soul Inspired Reiki community, where all of my Reiki students are in there. So there's lots of people to get support from, or you can post in the smaller group as well. So, so Lindsay says, I felt like my guides were very excited to see me, and I felt like they knew me from previous lifetimes. Yes. Very beautiful. Okay, so Elizabeth just messaged me. She has some questions. So I'm going to read her text or her message, and we can answer that as well. Okay. I'm wondering about Reiki can be done for others, even if we're just a level 1. Yes. So even at a level 1, yes, it can be done for others. And whenever I attuned all of you, I also attuned you all to the distance symbol as well. So usually Reiki level 1 is just, you know, healing the physical body and activating intuition and in-person healing. Because this program is distant, I also attuned you all to the distance symbol so that you could use it distantly as well. So we'll talk more about that. Maybe I'll do the video on that this week so that you can explore that. Usually distance healing is level 2, but, you know, again, for the purpose of the class, I included it. Okay, and then I'm not 100% sure what her other questions are. What do we need to do in terms of watching the videos? In one of your videos, you referred to a technique. Where do we find that? So I'm not sure. So any other questions thus far? And, you know, throughout this program, on the training calls are specific towards asking questions and applying the content, the material. So, of course, you know, if you think of questions, you can always ask them on any of the training calls, or also post them in the groups, and I'm happy to support you there. All right. So if there's no more questions, we will close for today. And we'll have our next training call next week. So these are going to be once a week. And again, typically this is going to be like, we'll bring forward some new information, and then there'll be lots of time for questions and answers. And the support calls will be more specific towards working whatever is forward for you. So, all right, my love. So also the last piece I'll just share is I'll be uploading videos. So all the training videos will be going to my website. I have a private protected page. So that's where I'll be uploading the content, so you can access the recordings there. So if you have questions, please let me know. And yes, Mia, I'll do the video on that this week, the distance symbol and how to activate it and how to use it. And then those of you that want to practice, we can also pair you up to where you can practice with each other. The distance sessions with each other. Teresa, they're every week. So if you want to mark your calendar for every week, we are going to have 2 integration weeks. I'll send the dates of those as well so that you can, mark those off. Typically, these calls are going to be between 30 and 45 minutes. So, all right. So I hope you all have a fabulous day, and we will chat next week.